First Take.
It's time again for your conference, CCFM Conference 2026, Wednesday, June 24th through Saturday, June 27th at the Florence Center, Florence, South Carolina. We will welcome Apostle Joshua Giles, Pastor T. Renee Glenn, Dr. Darius Daniels, Pastor John F. Hanna, Bishop Melvin Lambert, Bishop Bobby Hilton, and our psalmists, Pastor Smokey Norfolk, Pastor Wendy Wyatt, Pastor Naomi Rain, Pastor Lillian Lloyd. Yes, this is your conference, CCFM Conference 2026 at the Florence Center. Admission is free, but registration has major advantages. For more information, go to ccfmnation.org, ccfmnation.org. You don't want to miss the King's Summit CCFM Conference 2026, June 24th through the 27th. Come hungry for God's presence.
Oh, 69 degrees out there. The weather's just fantastic. If you're like me and you have a dog, you got to walk in the morning. They have you up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You got to walk them. They'd be barking saying, "Let me out." Walking early this morning, old Ezekiel, my dog, and man, that weather just fantastic. Cloudy, overcast on today. Should be raining today according to the weather report. About 80% today, 90% Saturday, 90% on Sunday, 90% on Monday. Matter of fact, there's a percentage of rain for the whole week of next week. Now, okay, before you get all up, worked up and everything over that, that's a good thing. I know, first of all, it wouldn't be Memorial Day if you didn't have some rain anyway. It's for real. But anyway, so we're in a drought. Hopefully this will pull us out of the drought. And if it's a slow rain and all this other stuff. Okay, well, anyway, good morning to you. Back to another edition of the morning show. On this Friday, we have Jay and DL. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
I do well at this time, sir. DL, you there?
I'm here, and I'm glad we're getting the rain, and we need it. And rain, baby, rain.
That's what I'm saying, man. Look, let it be a slow
agree.
rain, just to soak it in real good, so lawns can look good and gardens can look good. And I got a friend of mine that has a blueberry farm. I want his blueberries to get all the water they need, and so you know. But look, God knows what He's doing. Okay, all right. So anyway, but gentlemen, got a lot of interesting things to talk about today, and we'll lead off with that now. And we'll start with you. Let's let DL lead us off this morning.
Great. Come on, DL. Bring it on, baby.
Yeah. Like you said, Troy, me and you talked last night, Troy. You just can't get to everything, but there's always going to be a next Friday because North Carolina's got some stuff going on. So let's start off with a couple of weeks ago. This was in the Charlotte area, Mecklenburg County. This is published on the 15th. So the current president of the Charlotte local NAACP had made some comments and said that Charlotte needs to Val Lyles is resigning. She just got reelected. She's resigning. She made the vote to bring in the data centers, and she broke that tie. And so she's resigning next month. So the current local NAACP,
and she's resigning to spend more time with her family. That is what has been
that's what they all say.
Published. Okay, yeah. But that's fine. I'm just saying that's what I've seen published. Just go on, DL. I'm sorry.
They all say that.
The current president, Connie Mack, the current local president of Charlotte, said that they need to post another black person to be the mayor And her reason is because what's happening at the redistricting at the federal, have that state level, but it affects federal elections and what's going on in D.C. And so I don't agree with that, and I'm going to give you my reasons why.
I don't either.
That was controversial, but then she got back she doubled down in the state president, Deborah Maxwell. She stood by her. However, the former president of the Charlotte local chapter, his name is Terry Belt. Here's his comments. He said, this is a fight that didn't need to happen. He said her words are divisive. We have so much on our plate right now. He was critical of the compliment. And here's my thing with the NAACP. They have a right to say what they want to say, but I want some consistency. So the unique thing about Mecklenburg County, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Fayetteville, Cumberland County Department of Social Services is that Mecklenburg County had 185 women that they didn't notify of improper breast exams, while Cumberland County had 159. That's what they shared uniquely. And I Googled all the other big four counties in this state. None of them had an issue like that, or either it was not reported. And then when it came to SNAP vouchers over the last 4 years, both counties have been slow in processing SNAP vouchers. And so who uses those two services? Black and brown people when it comes to SNAP benefits. And so I have a cousin. She don't work in either county, but she's in DSS. And I say, all right, what's the deal here? Before I start talking about this, she say, the training to have these folks come in, it takes a long time. They usually quit. Okay, no problem. But that's an excuse, because here's what needs to happen, Troy and Jay. In the military, if you don't have a certain person for MOS, that's a military occupational specialist, you cross-train folks. Here's what should have happened in both of those departments. They should have had mandatory Saturday overtime, and they should have went on a hiring blitz and brought folks in and say, you will work to get these applications processed because poor folks need these benefits. That did not happen. And so I've not seen one press clipping from the local chapters or the state chapter criticizing those Department of Social Service boards, calling them out, because the people that they say they represent, because this is the reason why the Charlotte chapter wants the mayor to stay black, is because they represent black and brown people. But where have they been since 2017? It's just totally inconsistent, and it's not being called out. Not only is not being called out by the NAACP, you don't have the Democrats calling this out. That's where I have a problem at. But now I want to segue into another NAACP story.
Well, can I just add one thing there, DL? That's important. It's just one little piece of the puzzle. That initially it was reported that the former mayor prior to Lyles was a white female, and she was going to step on board, and there was a lot of pushback because she was a former white mayor. So I'm not sure why that's not part of the story, but that is definitely part of the story.
Well, Charlotte doesn't operate on its own. They need money from the state and federal level. So if they make that decision at this level based on race, so what do you think may happen in Raleigh when it comes to Charlotte? No, Charlotte wants to do their own thing. They don't need help from us white folks. Not saying that would happen, but I just don't like it is decisive. And the former local president said the same thing. But let's keep on in NAACP since they want to get involved in local politics. You have the national chapter who is calling for black athletes not to attend the southern schools that they're in the Southeastern Conference because of redistricting. Well, here's what I'll tell these young African-American kids and their parents. You do what's in the best interest of you. If you want to carry this burden, then go ahead and do it. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why I would not do it. This election was so important to everybody. They say this election is so important to everybody. One of the people that's caught up in the redistricts is James Clyburn out of South Carolina. He's caught up in this. Somebody give me the books. Who went to the White House 4 years Joe Biden was in there and saw him every day and had access to him? James Clyburn and a number of other folks had access to Joe Biden. We didn't ask James Clyburn to tell us. James Clyburn did not criticize Joe Biden because you want to know why? His daughter worked in the FCCC. So he was not going to criticize him. So his daughter's six-figure salary, did she resign? if I'm these black kids, I will make a decision what's in the best interest for myself. I'm not going to ask a person that's 18 through 22-year-old. Sometimes with the needle, they get to stay longer to be concerned about the masses when they got to make decisions what's in the best interest of them, because nobody called out the elected black politicians. They didn't see this coming with what's going on now. They didn't see this down the road. They stood on some controversial issues that we're going to get into next week about the DNC autopsy. We don't have time this week. And I'll tell you why these children, young men and women, should not be put in this position. Thanks a lot.
Can I just have ask you guys a question?
Sure, go for it.
Is what's going on in Charlotte, is that considered with trying to make sure that there's a black mayor, is that considered identity politics?
Of course it is.
Yes.
So let me just further that. So one of the big issues, and I just have to bring it up, we can touch it next week, but one of the biggest problems with the DNC autopsy was identity politics. And that was what really was one of the problems that brought that party down, and it continues to bring it down. So again, we talk about what's going on in Charlotte. It goes on all over the country, and that's not what the voters want to see and want to be focused on.
True.
Just wanted to add that.
But one last thing, though. The mayor in North Carolina, this is not me talking, folks. This is the UNC Institute of Government. The mayors in North Carolina are only one vote. They're weak mayors. They're not strong mayors. They're not like the mayor in Atlanta or New York.
Oh, absolutely.
They only have one vote. So I don't get why would you go make this controversy when the mayors can be on the losing end of something. If the mayor pro tem has the juice, or at-large mayor, because our at-large candidate has the juice in Charlotte, they can form a coalition and say, all right, look, Mayor, only thing I want you to do, ma'am or sir, is just do this ceremonial cutting a ribbon or talk to somebody in Raleigh. So that's what I don't understand. She doesn't have all the power. She had it last week when she broke that controversial tie on the data centers. I just don't get it. But NAACP, if you're going to say you're speaking for black and brown people, you need to be more consistent, because I'm pretty certain that there's, out of all those women in Mecklenburg in Cumberland County, somebody had needed some follow-up medical attention, and they didn't get it, but they got excuses. And I can tell you, those folks, department heads in those health departments, they make six figures on the other side of 125.
Yep. And just remember, most of North Carolina municipalities, I think all of them are strong. It's a strong manager form of government. So the managers are running the cities in New York, Atlanta, L.A., the mayors run the city. So that is the difference.
Wait, but see, here's my thing with the NAACP, and we can deep dive into their politics in a minute, because they say they're for race, but if you are a black conservative, then they're not for you. So it's not totally about race.
That's
true. What I'm saying? But look, let's just take Texas for example. Okay, guys? Now, they're in the Southeastern Conference of collegiate sports. So, like DL was saying, so now there are millions of dollars on the table for these young people, male and female, to get deals with playing sports in these places. But let's take Texas for example. So this is my question. You want these youngsters to take a hit, but what about the professors that work at these universities? Do you want them to quit?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point.
What about the people that work in housekeeping or whatever the heck they do? So you only want them to take a hit, but you saying, you don't come, but the professors are tenured or whatever they are, they get a chance to keep their jobs, okay? So nobody's asking them to take a hit. But not only that, the next point is this right here. What about professional sports? Because they got plenty of money. I'm back to Texas again. There are two National Football League teams there, Houston and Dallas.
And Cowboys.
So the Cowboys and the Houston, what you call it, Houston what now?
Texans?
Yeah, right. Texans. Rockets.
I'm talking about NFL now.
Three teams, yeah.
Right. So, and then you got two, you have two NBA teams there. So in other words, okay, we want the youngsters to fight, but
Yeah, right.
let everybody else make their money. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what they choose to do, but I'm just saying, make it make sense, man. That don't make sense. So all these other people can become multimillionaires, and they can stay in Texas and do what the heck they want to do.
Right.
But you don't want nobody going to the University of Texas. I guess in Texas A&M making any money, but unless you're a professor or you some other worker there, you can go and make some money. But the kids can't make any money with NIL deals, playing sports, anything like that. And let Dak and them play on the America's team, and make all the money they want to make with people coming there. So it's not a full boycott. You know what I mean? They just want to boycott the students. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
They're trying to make this. They're trying to make this a Muhammad Ali moment. And here's my issue, and I think you've hit it pretty well there, Troy. But for a lot of these young men, I understand the importance of making a statement and doing what's right regarding the redistricting. However, at the end of the day, a lot of these young men, this is about their future. And if you have a great opportunity at Alabama or at Mississippi, and this could really change your life, then I think boycotting might really mess up your future. It might help the cause, but what's more important right now, a young man's future or the cause? And I'm not really sure where to go on this one. It's a very interesting dynamic. Personally, I'd like to see a boycott, but I'm not the guy that's trying to make a living. So I'm sort of caught between, both issues make it a little bit challenging for me.
Well, hold on a second, Troy. Here's my thing, Jay. If they wanted to go to another school to make money, they could. But here's my thing, though, Troy. I never thought what you said, Troy, because the kid from Duke, what's his name, Kyrie Irving, he's a big, he's down for a lot of causes that affect black and brown people, and I applaud him. He does a lot of philanthropy work. But he didn't want to play during COVID, the bubble. He wanted all the NBA players to not play. And LeBron said, I'm going to get another ring. So they call it the bubble title for the Lakers. So that didn't work out for Kyrie because he didn't have any fouls. Now, he plays for the Dallas Mavericks. Interesting. So let's see if they ask them, Troy, because you're right, Troy. They didn't ask NBA players, baseball players, and basketball players. Okay,
everybody.
Tell them you can't play no more. You're going to void your contract and sit out. Tell them you're going to protest. Because Kyrie Irving got money. Let me void this contract and sit out and let the organization sue me. None. So you're right. But we're going to ask folks who don't have to sacrifice. Man, that's idiocy. That's crazy. Man, I can't say what I really want to stay on the air now. So I really can't. Because Troy put that back in my ear because I didn't think about it from that standpoint.
You got baseball. Yeah. You got Major League Baseball. You got the NFL. And you got the NBA. I'm just using Texas as an example. So you got all these teams with all of these people making money, but then you're asking the young people, an 18-year-old, to take a hit and say, well, don't go there because of this. But, I mean, surely these parents have a brain that say, hey, wait a minute here, something's wrong with this picture. So you want my family to take a hit, and you know how it works. A lot of these youngsters come from impoverished situations. Exactly. They don't have anything, and you want them to continue not to have anything while these African-American legislators, most of them are millionaires, not multimillionaires. They're not the poor cousins. They're not the super rich, but they're certainly not the poor cousins. They average from $1 to $3 to $4, $5 million. They're worth that. But you want somebody poor out here, don't have nothing. You want them to take the lick. I mean,
That's my issue. That's my issue. They have also talked about Super Bowls, future Super Bowls in these cities. I just heard that on the news that maybe they don't need to have a Super Bowl in Tennessee or wherever it was they talked about that was really pushing the redistricting. So it could hit other areas. This is not going away. We're going to be hearing a lot more about it, but it is very interesting, the points you brought up about other professions within these universities. Why aren't they going to boycott like the students? So interesting points.
Are they going to tell all of these African Americans that typically go to Meharry Medical not to go there to get doctorate degrees, to become MDs or dentists? Because I know a judge in town right now. His daughter just graduated from Spelman, and she is slated to go to Meharry, which is in the state of Tennessee. I mean, you know,
that's
so
in Memphis, I think. Memphis.
Right. So I'm saying I'm saying, but look, y'all know what this is about. This is a desperation move by a party of people that just plain crazy. You know what I mean? You're mad because you were playing Old Maid and somebody else was playing chess, not checkers. You were playing Old Maid.
This could backfire on the Democrats.
Right.
This could backfire on the Democrats. They got to be careful.
So, but not only that though, I just don't want to see, you know, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's the deal, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, though, guys, you know, so much for that. I mean, I know it's going to be a continuing saga as we move along.
It is.
But it's just funny to me because it's not about color, Jay. I mean, if it was about color, then the African-American woman that was running for the governorship of Virginia, who was the lieutenant governor, they would have supported her. But they supported the white woman, and that's their right to do what they want to do.
It's about politics.
That's what I'm saying. So
absolutely.
Obama shows up and tells the people, no, you cannot vote for this black woman. You need to vote for this white woman. I'm not picking on President Obama that he did that. That's a fact. He showed up, he told them, you need to support her. You see what I'm saying? The white woman over the black woman. So is it about color or is it about preservation of one political party? Because, you know, it's only about color when, you know, it's a white Republican running against a black Democrat. You see what I'm saying? If it's a black Republican running against a white Democrat,
they will go with the white Democrat.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Look,
That's
anybody can see that, but you know what? I'm so old now that I'm going to stand back.
And you are very old, and I like
true.
when you say that you're old, because you are old. But
this is true. Look, and I'm glad to still be here. But the thing about it is I'm going to stand back, and I'm going to watch and see if people are going to be as crazy going into the next 60 years as they were coming out of the last 60. Because what they propose and what they choose and what they want to do, guys, it's simply not, it's not going to work out. I mean, it's shown it's not going to work out. I mean, race politics isn't going to work either way for white or black people. It's not going to,
totally agree.
Because you got, you know, how many people now are into mixed relationships and everything else when it comes to race? You know, it's not like it was 60 years ago, man. You know, you could be standing
here. Look at the NBA. Just look at the NBA.
Right. What I'm talking about marriages. I'm saying you can stand there and be talking about somebody. You could be an African American down in white people, not knowing that the person you talking to, daughter or son-in-law, is white. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Or vice versa.
That's right.
You know, you just don't know now. You know what I mean? Or these little kids, a bunch of biracial kids you have out here. You know, I mean, I'm just saying is that we have got to move away from this foolishness. And
I agree.
I mean, and it got to be done by everybody. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Justice Thomas, you might hate him, but who is he married to?
I do.
You see what I'm saying?
A white woman. Yeah,
exactly.
That's true.
And but look, and think about this: the ones that are screaming the loudest, that's saying hate white people, because you see, they don't know who you are. Your background, Jay. They see you walking through the airport, they're ready to attack you. You see what I'm saying? And
they are.
And so, but who are Whoopi and all of these folk married to? Vice
true.
President Harris and all of them.
A lot of interracial.
Right. So I'm saying, you know, so if white people are so horrible why are you going home and getting in bed with one every night? You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense, bro. I'm just telling you, really.
Okay. That's a great segue. I'm not sure what that's going to be.
Backing up against the break, bottom of the hour.
All right. Anyway, look here. We're going to go to a break here as soon as the producer gets back in here. And guys, stay right there. We're going to be right back for more of the morning show. Jay.
All right, we're here.
Yeah. And anchoring from Studio C, 2520 Merchant Road. Brother Troy, we'll be right back.
It's one of life's simplest comforts. Turning on the tap and knowing clean, safe water's there. A glass before bed, a warm shower in the morning, water to cook, clean, and care for loved ones. So often, it's something that can be taken for granted. But behind every drop is a commitment to quality, safety, and service. At Fayetteville PWC, providing award-winning water is more than a service. It is a responsibility and a point of pride. Delivering clean, reliable water remains a top priority for Fayetteville and surrounding communities every single day, because clean water supports healthy families, strengthens neighborhoods, and helps communities thrive today and for generations to come. Discover more about the difference quality water makes at faypwc.com. Fayetteville PWC, always there, always on, always built to serve.
The racing world is mourning the death of Kyle Busch, who died suddenly at the age of 41. Busch was considered one of NASCAR's greatest drivers, earning a record 234 National Series victories and 2 Cup Series championships during his career. Ahead of Memorial Day, Gold Star families from across the nation gathered Thursday at Fort Bragg to honor fallen Special Operations soldiers whose names are etched into the memorial wall. Ceremonies are also planned across North Carolina this holiday weekend, including a Memorial Day observance in Surf City. In eastern North Carolina, Winterville leaders are working to close a $10 million budget gap. Residents will see sewer bills rise by more than $8 a month to help pay for infrastructure improvements. New research suggests that most people may be right-handed because of how the human brain evolved. And after more than a decade on the air, Stephen Colbert signed off Thursday night during the final broadcast of The Late Show from New York's Ed Sullivan Theater. John Champion, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. Quick note that City of Fayetteville Fast offices and transit services will be closed on May 25th as we join the community in observing the holiday. Also note that FCPR pools open for the season on Monday, May 25th. Chalmers Pool remains closed at this time. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office gives a huge thank you to Ville City Jeep Events for hosting an incredible Jeep event in support of the Cumberland County, North Carolina Shop with a Sheriff Foundation. Because of your hard work, generosity, and support from those who took part, $4,200 was raised to help make a difference for children in the community this holiday season. Cumberland County Schools welcomes Dr. Arisha Mosley DeBose as the new Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction following the approval of the Cumberland County Board of Education. Dr. DeBose currently serves as the Executive Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction and Federal Programs for Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
With the stalled front over the region for the Memorial Day weekend, we'll see multiple chances for scattered showers and storms. Temperatures cooler today, then will gradually warm up through the start of next week with more chances for rain. Some showers are possible this morning with temperatures in the mid-60s. Then we'll see better chances for scattered showers and storms by this afternoon. Highs will only reach the mid to upper 70s and will be mostly cloudy. We'll drop to the low to mid-60s by Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Grant Skinner in the NCN Weather Center.
Hi, I'm Mitch Colvin, president of Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. For over 50 years, our family has provided professional services with dignity, compassion, and respect with families during a time of need. We realize funeral services are as unique as those we're honoring. We offer a variety of affordable, quality services tailored to meet each family's needs, specializing in burial and cremation services. Proudly servicing Cumberland, Robeson, Hoke, Harnett, Bladen, and surrounding counties from 2 locations, 2010 Murchison Road, Fayetteville, 1904 Elizabethtown Road, Lumberton. For more information, visit our website, www.hmcolvin.com.
At Fayetteville State University, you will do something you thought you could never do. and never say never again. With NC Promise $500 per semester tuition, dare to see where you can go. Check out all your options, including our new cybersecurity program. Because tomorrow just can't wait. Fayetteville State University. Anything really can happen. Are you in?
25 minutes for the top of the hour. We're back inside of the morning show on this Friday with Jay and DL. So got a couple of things I want to talk about. Jay, you want to talk a little bit about this pay raise, if you will, for teachers. But, let me preface this by saying it's more complicated than that. It's not just money that comes from the state that dictates what teachers get, because all across the state, they get different. They're paid differently. It's not one thing.
Supplements from the counties, right?
Right.
Supplements from the counties.
Right.
Yeah. I think one of the things that was just very pleasing to hear was that it sounded like the Republicans and Democrats finally came to a point. Now, it hasn't been officially passed yet, the budget, but at least there are considerable raises in the budget for teachers, 8%, which is considering they've not been given raises or very small raises over the past few years. This is very good. It also, I think, will help people in public safety and other areas in state government. One of the reasons I think this is so important is we're bleeding teachers in North Carolina. Teachers are leaving. And while 8% is not a lot, it's a heck of a lot more than I was thinking that they would get. So I'm hearing from teachers that I know, and they were very pleased. We just have to hope that it actually, the budget is passed and that can move forward. And I'm wondering, it's sort of interesting because while Phil Berger lost his election to the sheriff, I can't remember his name, I'm wondering if things changed a little bit and they started working closer together after that happened, because it seemed like things really moved pretty quickly after that. So it was just an observation. But it's good news for our state employees who desperately need more money to keep them here, because, state employees aren't going to become wealthy, but you got to pay them a commensurate wage to keep them in the jobs and keep them at a point where where we can retain some good people. So those are just my comments. I thought it was really good news, and hopefully the budget will pass.
I agree. I think that one issue, though, when we talk about, there was a story in WRAL, even was talking about school vouchers. I think it was something like $570-some $1 million. But you do know that sounds like a lot of money, and it is for me personally. However, when the whole education school, what they get from the state, that's 3.7% of their budget, 3.7. Now, I'm just saying, make it make sense, bro. If you can take 3.7% of the budget and destroy you, then you're not, something's wrong with that picture. That's a very small amount of money. Less than 5% of the budget goes to school vouchers. So we need to quit picking on those people that don't want their children inside of a system that's not teaching the 3 R's, reading and writing and arithmetic, even though they don't call it arithmetic anymore. And because it's about something else now. We arguing about what bathroom you're going to go in. You guys saw the thing with Rahm Emanuel, who worked under
with Obama
and went on later to become the mayor of Chicago. He was on that late night show, and he just called him out. He said, look, this is why we're losing, but look, I stay out of the politics of it. People don't want their children subject to all of this stuff, man. And I don't blame them. I didn't. So I acknowledge that we made a decision to put my daughter in a private academy, K through 12. There was no voucher. We paid for it out of our pockets because we wanted, but we felt like that would be the best for our child. And I think that especially these youngsters that are in failing schools. I mean, who wants their child in a failing school with no other options?
Absolutely right. I don't argue with that. I am not a voucher person, but I also understand different opinions, and sometimes you have to make a decision where what is the word? You have to compromise, and compromise is what the budgeting process is all about. So I'm glad we're moving forward. We were the only state in the country without a budget, and that's not a good sign. What are your thoughts on it, DL?
Well, here's my quick thoughts on it, is that when it comes to school teachers and state employees, you need to pay them because they're underpaid. But I'm with you as far as education. Parents should not be required to keep their kids in failing schools, and that's why we have some good charter schools. Alpha Academy out there on South Rayford Road, I tell you, it's doing wonderful things. And if you don't like what they're doing with the money in Raleigh, you got to go out and vote and put the party in that you want to do the things you think they should be doing. Education, I'm like this. I'm like Jeff Bezos about give New York. He said, give New York more money. If they ain't running it right, the result is still going to be poor. I don't care how much money you throw in education until there's vested interest by all the stakeholders, including parents and teachers and administrators. The grades are still going to be in the negative, Yeah. So we have to be good stewards of the money when it comes to our local school systems.
Yep.
Well, guys, I want you to. But look, a charter school is a public school, though. Let's not confuse that. That's not a charter school is not a private school. A charter school is a public school. It is,
but there is different criteria.
Yeah, it is.
They don't,
but it's still a public school.
And I think that's the issue. But it is a public school. You're correct.
Right. So, but again, and then the last point I want to make is that, I don't want to begrudge our administrators, but when you have a teacher making $40,000 a year, and you have an administrator making $500,000 a year, you see what I'm saying, $500,000, making more than the president. I mean, a lot of these administrators make more than the salary for the U.S. president. Okay, they're important.
Can I add one thing here? Oh, go on. But I wanted to add something important. But go on, Troy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying is that, and then they surround the people with them. All of them are making big time salaries because they the curriculum advisor or whatever kind of title they have. I think that's the problem. This money needs to be going to the frontline people. The money is there, I believe, in many instances, but it's going to administrators, and I think that they're top heavy. That's my analysis.
That's what we looked at. I think DL brought up the point that there are 20 administrators in Charlotte making six figures or $200,000 or more, and in Wake County, which is another large system, there was like 3 or 4. One point I'd like to make, which is very interesting, the city of Durham's, their proposed budget is a little controversial because now the minimum livable wage is $25 and some cents an hour. The lowest a person will make in the city of Durham is $50,000. Okay? Teachers are starting at $40,000. So you can be a lifeguard or a solid waste collector. And listen, collectors are important, but they're going to start at over $50,000 a year. Something's wrong with the picture, and what that will do is when you start at $25 an hour, you're going to have compression issues, and that's going to cause other positions to go up. So while we need to pay our people well, I think we need to be smart about it, and $25 seems to be a very high starting livable wage in Durham. I just had to add that. Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is now, but I know the distance cost analysis. At one point, if you were in Fayetteville and you moved to Durham, you would need to be making $20,000 more a year to live at the same standard of living, moving from Cumberland County to Durham. Right. Yeah. So because the cost of living is higher. Right.
Oh yeah, no question.
Right. But anyway, speaking of Durham, you guys, the Durham affairs for the black folk. I forget the exact name of that organization, but it's very popular. I've known this, everybody run for state office goes through that organization. And
they want that endorsement.
You would know that, Jay, because you up there, but I'm familiar with it as well. And so had a little ruckus there because, first of all, I thought it was kind of interesting for them to have an executive director that's only 35 years old. It's kind of young, I thought, but whatever. But she's now accused of ripping off some of the money, man, about like $75,000.
$75,000. Well, the reason they were trying, for years, they were not able to recruit young members. It was a lot of older black individuals from the community. So this was an opportunity to start really reaching out to young people. And I know one person in particular, I won't mention his name, that was on the committee, They're pretty well-known individuals in Durham. And he was one of those, and he was an individual a year and a half ago that said, something ain't right with this committee, and there is a problem with leadership. And he called it out. There was a lot of pushback. And just this week, this former leader of the organization was indicted for embezzling $75,000, writing checks to herself and going to the ATM. Not a good look. And there could be more charges coming up for other people. We're not sure. But, again, this has been an organization that's been around forever.
For real.
Had a good reputation. People wanted their endorsement when they were running, and this definitely is a bit of a black eye for the organization.
Dear?
Like I said, nonprofits get money from the state. And if you go out the door where you're at right now, Troy, and look to the left, I'm not going to call the names out. I've done it many years over the WIDU airways, is that they hurt the black community when they get money from the state and don't be at the forefront on certain issues and causes, especially during COVID. It's very disappointing, but they don't get called out, though.
Yep.
Right. Well, look, guys, so I had the chairman of the Board of Commissioners was on with me on Tuesday, and he brought up this thing talking about, the whole dust up over the parking lot down there. Some people they talk about it all the time, and they messed up, blah, blah, blah. What he's saying, well, now they have a feasibility study. He said one was done, but now another one's coming up, whereas that a private entity is looking at putting a hotel on that spot. So this would not cost the taxpayers anything. Of course, the private entity would use the property there on the corner of Dick, that would be Dick Street and Gillespie, and I guess Otis Jones Way. But all of that surrounding that. But, now mind you now, we're talking about an initiative that wouldn't have them in the hands of the pockets of the taxpayers because these folk don't have a problem with OPM, other people's money. They'll spend that like all day long. But when they don't have to do that, I like this. I like that idea. A hotel.
I do too. Well, Durham, Fayetteville definitely needs a hotel downtown.
Right.
And I think it sounds, I saw the artist rendering of the hotel. It looks very, very nice. There was $30 million that was used for that parking lot or, the proposed area that I guess the county won't get back. And your point of having a new hotel without going into the taxpayers' pockets is definitely a real plus. So to me, it seems like a win-win. Again, on the surface, it sounds really good to me, and it looked real nice. So I'm not sure what has to happen next, but I did see that there was some interest with this. So what does happen next?
I don't know. It's just going to be interesting. You see what I'm saying? So I just got a text from the chairman. He said, actually, the site prep comes back, so it's not $30 million, it's 13.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank
you for tuning in,
Chairman Debier, for the clarification. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, the chairman, right. So, but that's the whole thing, too. People want to ratchet up stuff. They want to present things in such a way that seems negative. So the whole notion is to get people riled up, and unfortunately, the thing now to use is race. Oh, we're going back to this is Jim Crow 2.0. I mean, quit lying. But you know what? Somebody's going to believe that. There is no Jim Crow 2.0 going on here.
Out. What's wrong? Come here.
There is no Jim 2.0 Jim. It's not. That's not true. That's simply not true.
No.
Anyway.
It does seem like it seems like it would definitely be a good opportunity for Fayetteville. There's no downtown hotel, and it's needed.
No, it's not.
If
it's not. Right. But you know,
and the other thing is they talked about like banquet space and everything like that, which is also good for conventions. So there's a lot of potential there.
So, if you got all that stuff, and a lot of those things, parking is inside of the thing as well, along with a restaurant, rooms, and, bars or whatever, inside of one thing. You know what I mean? So it's a one-stop shop type thing. And I think, if I remember correctly, the chairman was talking about a convention meeting space, parking deck, hotel, everything in one spot, which I think would be nice. But we're talking about something that, it's moderate, 125 rooms. So, that would be I think that would be a good thing, I mean, first of all, it's not
totally
OPM.
Agree.
Right. And but it's a private investment in downtown, and that's what we need, because what they were talking about was $200 million at a minimum, but it's taxpayer money.
Right.
But anyway, so look, I need to get you to start calling to the morning show on Mondays, but you want to talk a little basketball there, and I give you a green light for that.
I do, and I will have to call in on Mondays. I mean, I just got to tell you, I've been watching both series, both Knicks, Cavs, and Spurs and OKC. I'm pulling for the Spurs because I love Wemby. I mean, this kid can shoot. He can play defense. He can dribble the ball. The guy's amazing. It's exciting to watch. It's going to be a heck of a series. OKC's tied it up. And then we got, of course, the Knicks, who I'm actually rooting for over Cleveland. They're up 2-0. Brunson didn't have as good a game. I think Hart had a much better game. The bottom line is it's exciting. People are watching. And then one more thing we can hit is the Hurricanes. It's like they are they lost 6-2. And here's an interesting stat about the Carolina Hurricanes, who continue to have great records during the regular season, do well in the playoffs, get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been to 3 before this one. They're 1-12 in games.
Wow.
So they've been outscored 4-0, 4-0, 4-1. It's like they're jinxed. So they're playing Montreal, who just totally outplayed them last night. So we got a lot going on with the NBA. What do you guys think about the NBA? Who do you want to see win? And who's the best player out there right now, most exciting player?
Deal.
Well, Wemby's the most exciting player because he doesn't flop like SGA, the Canadian, who's the two-time reigning MVP. I bet you did mention the Hurricanes because they did lose big last night, but they're the only team in North Carolina to ever win a major pro
hockey
championship.
Right.
That is true. Hockey. Hurricanes.
Yeah, I might even tune into them one game just to be doing it. But I'm not a big NBA guy. There, Jay.
But you are not an NBA guy. Okay.
I was.
Is there any team that you want to see win?
Oh, to win, I like to see San Antonio win. I like Wemby, a young team. I like to see San Antonio win.
Me too. What about you, Troy?
You're
not an NBA guy? You are an NBA guy?
As long as the Knicks lose, so I can hate on Reverend Paul Matthews because he hates on the Raiders. He hates on my Raiders, so I'm getting him back, guys.
There you go. Hate on Paul a little bit there.
Right. When he starts being fair towards the Raiders, the same thing to my friend DL. He throws a lot of shade at the Raiders too. And I don't know about this. I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna find out where he lives and get me some eggs. Drive past his house.
Well, Can I ask you an NFL question?
Shoot.
There's a little controversy, I think, for the Cleveland Browns. Switching to NFL for a second. Tell me what you think. You guys are both NFL guys. They're going to start Deshaun Watson over Shedeur Sanders. Deshaun Watson has been out, injured, and then the controversy and everything. He did not look very good when he was in the last few years, when they did play him. Why are they sitting Shedeur and not playing him and playing Deshaun? That's sort of a shock to me. Thoughts on that?
Well,
Right.
Jay, we don't know. Training camp hadn't happened commence. I can tell you this: Deshaun Watson's in the last year of his contract, where he's going to be paid $40-some million, and they need to see what they got
I'm
in
serious.
him. But I think the coach preseason and practice is going to determine the starter. I don't know what's on the coach. He's a first-year coach.
Well, they already said Deshaun Watson was the starter.
Well,
that's
hey,
what they've said.
The Steelers play Cleveland twice a year, and whoever starts, I wish them not to play good because I want the Steelers ahead of them. But I don't know. Just because the coach says it, the coach got to give the media something to talk about, Jay. If Deshaun Watson goes out there and plays terrible, I think Shedeur will surpass him. That coach got to realize he won't be coaching for long if he doesn't play a person who's better than the other player.
I agree. And then Aaron Rodgers said this will be his last year, which is good. I don't know if you're a fan. And then, of course, you got the Vrabel controversy in New England. There's a lot of – I'm already getting into the NFL, and we still are a few months away. I don't know about you guys. You ready for it to start?
I am. I like the NFL a whole lot better than I do. I mean, because they play too many games in these other games. It's too many games for me.
I agree.
I can't
I
stand
totally
with all
agree.
this. You know, what the NBA used to like 80-some games? And the Major League Baseball, how many games they play? About 300?
I think 164, like 164, 165. Yeah, it's too many.
It's too many for me. I can't stand with all that. I can't. Besides that, it's not like the old days, man, when you had Showtime and all that. I don't know. I mean, I'm doing my best because of the Monday morning sports show, but I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of like sleepwalking through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, look, guys, you guys asked the folk to go out to be careful out there. Memorial Day is coming. If you're going to be out there on that water with boats, be safe out there. If you're going to be barbecuing or cooking and all the other stuff, be safe with all of that stuff, And if you can't swim, you're in the water, just put on a vest. You'll be okay, okay? Unfortunately, we have too many people.
Great advice. That is
with
great
drownings
advice,
and stuff
Troy.
like that. But you know what? You do know that most people that drown can't swim. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Because they're overconfident. I can swim all the way across this lake, get halfway across, get a cramp. Oh my God. Last time I saw him, he was he was going under right here.
Yeah.
Anyway, last word to you guys, man.
I just hope everyone has a very safe holiday. I want to say, hats off to all the people who have served. I know you've served, Troy, correct? And have you served, DL?
Yeah, I did 36 years. But keep in mind, it's not a happy Memorial Day, folks. I know you mean well,
Oh,
but
I know.
it's,
I always do
not a
that.
happy
I
Memorial
always do
Day.
that.
These
What did
people
you
that
say
lost their
then? That's a
lives.
good point. Not happy Memorial Day. What do you just say?
Observe.
Reflect. Hey, let's reflect on this day of remembrance.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, let me say it again. Can I rephrase it? Let's reflect on this day of remembrance.
Yes.
There you go.
Because they only
Thank
have
you.
a day.
That's my point.
Other folk have a whole month. I'm not going to say who, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I got to go.
All right.
Look,
to
love
see
you
you
guys,
guys.
man. All of you all have a fabulous, fantabulous weekend coming up. We have at 10 o'clock Heartbeat, and at 11 o'clock you have MP3. Also, our most a producer there, the lady of the hour, Tammy Quick. Yay! Well, look, out of here. Have a great one.